Good evening. Welcome to the City of Joliet Council meeting for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025 at 6:30 in City Hall Council Chambers with our Mayor, Terry Darcy, presiding. We will have the invocation from Rabbi Jenny Steinberg Martinez from Stepping Stones Treatment Center from 1114th North Larkin Avenue, Joliet, after which he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good to see you, man. Dear God, thank you for our council and our leaders and all the members of our community who come today in service of our beloved Joliet. Give them grace for their time and efforts that they take for all of us. Give them strength in these troubled times to meet all the items on their agenda with ease. As they serve our Joliet community, open their hearts and minds. And we thank you for all you do to light our way. We ask all of this to bless over us as we go forward in public service with all of our hearts and our minds. With love and light and peace, hold us, Lord. And we all say, Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy?
Here.
Councilman Cardenas?
Here.
Councilman Clement?
Here.
Councilman Hug?
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Here.
Councilman Moreno?
Here.
Councilman Mudrin?
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Here.
Next is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, seeing none. Next are council committee reports. Land Use and Economic Development.
Land Use and Economic Development Committee met Wednesday, October 22nd at 3:30 here in the City Hall at Council Chambers. In attendance was Councilwoman Ibarra, Councilman Mudrin, and myself, along with some city staff members. We had the approval of the minutes, no citizens to be heard on any agenda items. And then we went on with the Economic Development Director, Paulina Martinez, presented agenda item TMP 9097, a resolution authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with La Sociedad, Inc. And I'm going to ask Paulina to come up and give us a presentation on this.
Good evening, council members, Mayor. Tonight, my colleague Emily McGuire will be giving the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council.
Groundhog Day.
Today's presentation outlines the tenant selection process following the recent request for proposal for the lease of the first floor of Union Station. I will provide an overview of the process, present the recommended tenant, and highlight a few key lease terms. Earlier this year, the city issued an RFP to identify a qualified tenant to lease and operate the commercial restaurant space within Union Station. The goal was to attract a business that would activate the space, serve the community, and contribute to our local economy. Following the release of the RFP, Economic Development reached out to 29 partners and approximately 20 businesses throughout the region. Between March and May, 7 groups conducted walkthroughs of the space, and by May, we had received 4 completed submittals. In June, we held an internal staff review, which consisted of staff members from Community and Economic Development, Planning Division, Facilities, and Purchasing. From there, we selected 3 proposals to move forward to an in-person interview panel. The in-person interview panel consisted of staff members from Community and Economic Development, Purchasing, Planning, and the City Manager's Office. During the panel interviews, applicants were invited to bring any marketing or supporting documentation to help clarify their proposals. All proposals were reviewed and evaluated by city staff based on the following: financial capacity, economic impact, community benefits, project feasibility, proposed structure of economic incentive. Based on the conclusion of the interviews, it was determined that Casa Katrina was the best fit proposal for the opportunity at this time. The proposed terms reflect internal discussions aimed at aligning the city's priorities and accommodating the operational needs of Casa Katrina team. This includes a base rent of $7,000 a month plus a 5% annual increase, a lease term of 5 years with 2 optional renewals terms of 5 years each, so potentially 15 years total. And the tenant will be responsible for all utility bills and property taxes, plus will be generating food and beverage tax as well. The Casa Katrina team has communicated to us that they have full intention of utilizing the brewing equipment and space. They are currently in the negotiation phase with the former migraine brewmaster. Therefore, there is a condition listed in the lease that the brewing operations must commence within the first 6 months, with 1 optional extension of an additional 6 months. If the tenant fails to begin brewing operations within the first year, the city has the right to revoke the use of that portion of the premises, take possession of any brewing equipment, and lease or sell any brewing equipment to a third party on site without modifying the lease. The proposed lease is expected to generate a total revenue of $464,000 over the lease term. Additionally, the tenant's operations are projected to bring in an approximately $232,000 in tax revenue, including sales tax, home rule, food and beverage, and property tax. The projections are based on the tenant's sales projections of their first and second year in business, which are comparable to other restaurants in this area. The projections include home rule tax of 1.75%, sales tax of 1%, food and beverage tax of 1%, and the real estate tax will be 100% into the downtown TIF. Therefore, we are projecting a total revenue of approximately $696,000 in the first 5 years. This concludes tonight's presentation. I do have the 3 owners of Casa Katrina here with me to address any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Good evening. My name is Angel Zamudio. I'm a Joliet resident for the past 30 years. Very excited to bring this project to Joliet, my hometown.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jose Vasquez, co-owner. Like he mentioned, very excited and grateful for the opportunity. I believe we've formed a team that is going to be able to bring the most out of the location. And we're bringing very obviously delicious food, but as you will see, it's a very celebratory environment, very positive. So we're selling not just food, it's an experience. And so I think it'll be something that the whole city will be able to enjoy and remember for quite a while. So thank you again for everything you've given us.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Joaquin Anguiano. I'm the chef. So I can't wait for present my food, my authentic Mexican food, and fiesta and everything, drinks, margaritas, and something. Everybody. So everybody's is. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. So I can't wait. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
I have a question
Thank
for
you.
you, sir. Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
What are your specialty dishes? Because you say you're bringing a new variety. I'm interested because I love Mexican food.
Actually, I don't have especially because I have all dishes for the Mexico, like Yucatan, like cochinita pibil or from Monterrey, carne asada, enchiladas potosinas. It's for all the Republic. That's the reason my food, that's very authentic Mexican food.
Filet Estrella going to be on there?
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I'm just curious about your dessert, but we're excited to have you in town, and
It's all
we're
about
really
the food.
looking forward to.
Yeah, my desserts. My wife is some reposter, so I have a So we have a different like lava cake, but a different special chocolate. So churro, Mexican churro, but not the same Mexican churro. That's some crema pastelera inside with vanilla ice cream and something like that. So I have a lot of fiestas with in the place, like a gorilla, something like that, flies, bulls, something, you know. So I'm excited. So I don't know what you, but I think you are excited too.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question.
Sure.
For the owners, do I understand, or you own another restaurant already, right now? In Manhattan? No.
Flor de Fuego is some friend is the owner, so I helped it to him, but that's too a small place, but that's the more like a taqueria, something, but not to display. It's not the same.
So you were a chef at that place?
Yeah.
And you guys own another restaurant? Can you tell us a little about that?
We currently own Culichi Town, which is a fusion of Mexican and Mexican sushi. It's called Culichi Town. It's over in Stone Park. It's been there for 8 years now.
Thank you.
Great.
Real quickly, we also have another location in Alsip, El Don. We specialize in meats grilled over mesquite charcoal. This new location will be also specializing in different cuts of meat. So I think that'll, to answer your question, one of the specialties will be, of course, the different cuts of meats that you will have.
Do you know, is El Cortez still open in Ellsworth?
Yes.
El
It's Country
Cortez?
Club Hills, sorry.
Oh, it's a Country Club Hills
okay,
now.
yeah, I'm actually familiar. Yeah, that is still open, yes.
They had some killer carne asada. They hammered it real thin. Went through when I went
I
there.
have not been there in a while, but I'll take your word.
Just give me a little hint.
Actually, in the menu we have a tomahawk, New York, ribeye, cowboy, arrachera, like some, I don't know what's the name, but maybe in the new menu we can put a Joliet steak or something like that. But there's a big carne asada. I have everything in my menu. So actually, my favorite is the meats. So, but the steaks, that's very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Our
you.
beef jerkies aren't going to cut it tonight.
All right, so I got a question. So my birthday's coming up, so when are you guys gonna open up?
That's exactly what we want to know. But realistically, considering we have to wait for licenses and such, I would expect, 60 days at the most. But it's all depending on how fast we can progress with licensing and everything like that. But we're ready. So ASAP would be my answer. So hopefully we'll make it by then.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question, Mayor. You guys are, if I understand correctly, you intend to utilize the brewing equipment. Do you have experience in a brew pub?
We do not have any experience. My partner here, they own a tequila factory back in Mexico, so they're not the same, but they're familiar with the process. So we're in negotiation with the previous brewmaster from the Union Station. So he seemed very passionate about the place. So he knows everything there's in there. So I'm happy to bring him on board.
So he'll be working for you as the brew?
We're negotiating right now. We're just waiting on the proposal.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have a couple other questions, if I may. So if the brew part doesn't work, how will that work if you lease that property out when they're having their big restaurant on the other side?
So the space could be divided. All the operations of the brewery are actually in the back. Yes, you can see some of the brewing equipment as display, but that could easily be sectioned out and divided into a different space.
Different space, so it'd be like the brew pub on one side and then this restaurant on the other?
It doesn't necessarily have to be a brew pub. It could be a production site for beer, if that was the case. If it was a brew pub that we were pursuing, we would be working with facilities and figuring out the space configuration, maybe a different entrance. But we are, very excited with the negotiations that they're underway. Actually, the brewmaster was the one who reached out to us to make an introduction to the gentleman here. So we're pretty confident that they'll get the brewing up and running.
Okay, and I understand that, but one more question. It probably won't apply in the beginning, but maybe later on. Will there only be the brew pub beer being served, or will there be selling other commercial beers like Dos Equis and cerveza and things like that, instead of just the brew pub beer? I want to know if down the road it's going to be some commercial beer as well as the brew pub beer. And I have a good reason for that. That's what I want to know.
Okay. My understanding is that they plan to have a full bar service, but I will let them answer.
So far, from what we've talked with Dan, who was the previous brewmaster, the idea would be to at least start selling what we make. The idea there is, of course, we want to promote whatever we make. We're going to believe in the product we make. Perhaps selling other things would, bring us down in that respect. But of course, it's a bit of a learning curve there, so we will see what happens. But initially, the idea would be to begin selling whatever we make in order to bring the most out of that side of the restaurant.
So you're planning on getting the brew pub ready when the restaurant opens? Is that the plan?
Yes, as she mentioned, so far the talks with Dan are very positive, and he feels a connection to the location, having worked there for so long. So, unless something unexpected happens, I believe we formed a great relationship already. So, I feel like we'll be working with him very well.
Okay, I have some reservations, but
I understand, and like I said, we will see what happens. I just feel that in order to get the most out of the brewing, we would have to begin selling only what we make.
I understand.
But we will see. I understand your reservations, so we are open to seeing how it goes and also hearing whatever you have to say on what's going on.
No BYOB, huh?
No BYOB.
I'm kidding. Okay, thank you.
Paulina, what was the rent? Refresh my memory for migraine, monthly rent.
Migraine had an agreement. They had a 20-year lease. In the first 10 years, they were not paying rent because of the initial investment they made into the space.
And what was the rent going to be?
It was going to start at $18 a square foot, I believe.
Which is the total of what? What's the square footage?
16,000 square feet.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's what question I had.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, because I had a lot of reservations, a lot of questions, and I'm glad that we did this tonight.
All right, still me, right? Still me?
Yeah.
Next agenda item we went over on was an ordinance approving amendment number 4 to development agreement for Senior Suites LLC building at 215 North Ottawa Street. This is an extension of a current agreement that's already in place to give the developers enough time to apply for a competitive grant through the Illinois Housing Development Authority. This essentially will help preserve 84 affordable housing units for seniors for that one. Then we reviewed agenda item TMP 9098, an ordinance designated an area as the Joliet River's Edge Redevelopment Zone, which Paulina will be giving a presentation on that during the, right now?
Oh.
Are you, no, not yet, right? That's not till the public hearing.
Okay.
Are you doing it now? Can you do it now? Do it now? For the, or that during the public hearing on the River's Edge?
I thought you wanted to do it now.
Doesn't it have to be
She can present on it. We'll still have to have the public hearing
Yeah,
for.
you can present it now.
Yeah, she can present now.
I'm at the restaurant, but yeah. She's already up.
Good evening again. All right, so tonight we're going to be presenting on the River's Edge Redevelopment Zone application, which is a state level incentive program through the state of Illinois. The River Edge Redevelopment Zone Act was adopted by the state of Illinois in 2006, which initially helped create 5 River Edge Redevelopment Zones, as you can see in the map. It was Rockford, Elgin, Aurora, Peoria, Quincy, and East St. Louis. This program aims to help communities by stimulating job creation and retention through environmental remediation and historic preservation, developing public-private partnerships to create favorable business climate, and encouraging new private investment. Some of the eligibility requirements for the River Edge Redevelopment Zone include the area has to be contiguous and surrounding a river, hence the name. It has to be a minimum of 5 square miles or a maximum of 12 square miles, exclusive of lakes and any other waterways. The area has to be entirely within the boundaries of the municipality, so it cannot encompass different municipalities. The area has to have at least 100 acres of environmentally challenged land within 1,500 yards of the riverfront. And it has to be consistent, the area satisfies any additional criteria established by the state of Illinois, which in this case was that it could not overlap any enterprise zones. Joliet already has an enterprise zone. That is why Joliet for a long time did not have a River Edge Redevelopment Zone. But in 2023, the state passed legislation that made an exception that allowed the city of Joliet as well as Kankakee to overlap their River Edge Redevelopment Zone with an enterprise zone. So that's what gave us the green light to start this project. As you can see here, you can see the proposed boundaries that we have for the River Edge Redevelopment Zone. We are taking advantage of 11 of the 12 square miles that we are allocating. Our GIS team did a great job in helping us figure out the boundaries of this very wonky map. As you can see, we're going all the way out to the mall area and as far east as the Old Silver Cross site. We wanted to make sure that all of our commercial corridors and industrial sites were included. The only ones that we were not able to include was anything that is a North Point, Center Point, because that's just too big and we didn't have enough space anymore. But all of our historic districts are there, which are really the important ones for this program. This is just another reiteration of the map, highlighting our major employers, vacant land, and undeveloped sites throughout the proposed zone. So the language that I'm using here is based on the language that they use throughout the application. The application is asking us for things like the economic obstacles and liabilities. And as you can see here, some of the economic challenges that we identified was long-term disinvestment and environmental challenges along the riverfront corridor, decline of industrial and retail base, and shift commerce to outlying areas. Portions of the area fall within low to moderate income census tracts, so nearly 11% of residents are below the poverty line in those areas. Limited access to capital for entrepreneurs and property owners, outdated building stock, and lack of modern amenities, which are insufficient to downtown housing that limits foot traffic for the evening, weekend activities, and investor appeal. So the River's Edge Redevelopment Zone designation really aims to overcome a lot of these economic challenges by providing incentives and fostering coordinated redevelopment. But just like we have challenges, we also have assets, right? So some of the economic development assets and special features that we are including in our application include cultural and entertainment anchors, which include the Rialto Square Theater, as well as the baseball stadium, which draw thousands of visitors a year. Government and institutional presence, City Hall, the Will County Building, the State of Illinois Building, and other institutions in the area also are major employers in the area and bring a lot of foot traffic during the day. Transportation connectivity, as Mayor Darcy has said many times, outside of Chicago, Joliet is the most well-connected city in the region. We have Metro, we have Amtrak, we have Pace Bus. We are a very well-connected city. We also have historic character in urban form. And as Dustin always says, Joliet has good bones. We have a really good structure, a lot of stuff to work with in our historic district to really utilize those bones to make something modern, but with character of the city still. So within this application, we have a few goals. The number one goal is revitalize historic and underutilized vacant properties in the River Edge redevelopment zone. So that includes like returning 5 underutilized or vacant properties to productive use within the first 5 years of the designation. Goal number 2, increasing housing options in the zone, especially downtown. One of the objectives within that goal is to facilitate the construction or rehab of 50 new housing units in the proposed zone within the first 5 years of the designation. Goal number 3, attract investment and support economic development in the zone. So that will include assessing the infrastructure, zoning, environmental readiness for each site. So a lot of site preparation, right? Really looking for any grants or any other programs that can support site preparation for some of the vacant and undeveloped sites that we identified in the map. And also working very closely with our community partners as well as our community engagement director to make sure that we are marketing this opportunity, right? Doing some roundtable discussions with prospective developers in the region and members of the city council. And the 4th goal is to expand the quality of life amenities for residents and workers in the area. So that would mean increasing access to daily goods and services in the zone, especially downtown, by attracting new convenience-based businesses within the first 5 years of the designation. And some of the targeted industries that we have for this application is healthcare and life science industries, downtown and tourism-related businesses, so a lot of retail, restaurants, things like that, and advanced manufacturing, which we're hoping that will really foster a environment of innovation in Joliet. And as I mentioned, we want to be very aggressive with the marketing activities for the zone. We want to make sure that the region knows that Joliet has this incentive tool and letting investors know how they can utilize it and how it can be helpful to their project. So like I said, we'll be working on social media campaigns, newsletters, roundtables, and we're going to be working on coming up with a media plan to promote this as well. So what are these incentives, right? So the 2 most popular ones are the top ones: the sales tax rebate for building materials and the historic preservation tax credits. So the sales tax rebate for building materials are actually a rebate on only the state taxes. So that's 5%. So let's say that we have a $10 million project that wants to come to Joliet and they want to take advantage of this. That would, on a conservative side, represent a savings of $100,000. For historic preservation tax credits, that is really the most appealing incentive of this program for most developers. One, because historic preservation tax credits, if you're not in a river edge redevelopment zone, they are competitive, right? You have to apply for it. You have to earn those tax credits. If you are in the zone, then it's an automatic, right? It doesn't become competitive. You can just apply for that and get those credits, up to 45% of that tax credits on eligible expenses. And I would say about 90% of a $10 million budget is eligible for expenses, right? So that can represent, on the conservative side, about $2.6 million on historic tax credits that a developer can take advantage of, including dividend income deduction, interest income deduction, new construction job credits, and remediation tax credits. These are the steps that we've taken so far to make this application happen. The first one was the Land Use and Economic Development Committee meeting, which was on October 22nd. Today, we're having the public hearing, and we're going to presenting you the ordinance to designate the area. If approved, then that would be submitted to the Department of Commerce, and they have the right to approve that within 180 days. In conversations with staff members of the state, they said that realistically it's half of that time, but we want to be conscious that it can take up to 180 days, right? So hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best. And then after that, DCEO approval and certification would mean that our zone is ready to go and we're open for business in that sense. Any questions?
So if I understand this, it's just a state program or is it federally supported too?
The historic preservation tax credits is federal as well. So it is
It's
a combination of state
and
and federal, correct.
Now, if we allow for this designation, does it tie our hands on choosing what we want to develop? Do they have restrictions that they're going to say you need to do this list of developments?
No, it just has if they take advantage of the historic tax credits specifically, then they do have to follow very specific instructions from the IDNR, the Illinois Department of
Natural Resources.
Natural Resources, yes, thank you. In making sure that the historic character of the building is not compromised. But no, they don't tell us what or where we can develop as long as it's within the zone.
Can you bring the map back up?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I was looking at it. Now, what is the requirements to be allowed to be in that zone? How far from the river do you have to be? And, because I don't see anything on Route 30.
On Route 30?
Yeah. Am I looking?
No, Route 30 is there. There's just a big break on Route 30, actually. So it has to be 100 acres of environmentally challenged land within 1,500 yards of the river. That is the main requirement that has to do with the river. Other from that, you can go as far out as you want, right? As long as there's a river surrounding the area and you don't exceed the 12 square miles.
So 1,500 yards is for which portion?
100 acres of environmentally challenged land.
So all of this map is not environmentally challenged?
Correct.
And I guess there's 2 rivers involved there, correct?
There's 2 what?
2 rivers.
No, just one.
Just the one river?
Just Des Plaines. Yeah, we're basing it off the Des Plaines River.
Okay, thank you.
Question there. Will the Historic Preservation Committee be involved in this?
In the sense of approving permits?
Permits and what actually is what's going to happen, what they're going to do with certain materials, like we go with the local districts. Can you explain that a little further, how that's going to work?
Dustin, can you hold on a little bit?
The local historic preservation commission has established guidelines, but as a matter of reviewing new construction, they're not involved in the permitting process. So we've never done this before. That's the reality of it. And I think it's a good question. How would our existing historic preservation interest and infrastructure play into this? I don't know what that looks like. We haven't done this before. I would think that the amount of community interest and expertise on that board would be valuable as we roll this out and implement it. And I'm very happy to keep you updated on what that would look like.
Well, the reason I asked that is because I think we need a guideline, but some of those restrictions on the local is tough, as we talked about a few months back. You have to get certain things, but you don't have the carpenters and the historic glass people and all that stuff you can't get a hold of that anymore. And there's people that don't do that intricate wainscoting and, the balusters and things like that. So I was wondering how strict this was going to be.
I see what you're saying. So far we've identified a architect in the state of Illinois who is an expert actually on riverset redevelopment zone applications. We're going to be reaching out to that person and learning a little more from her experience and leaning on her contact network, honestly, for a lot of that expertise, because we know it is very niche and we want to be very intentional and not compromising the historic character of any of our buildings.
Yes, if it looks like this, if it looks the same, I'm all for it, because otherwise you just can't do it.
Right.
The cost is exorbitant.
Correct,
Trying to
and
make
that
it
is,
exact.
right, and that is the purpose of the historic tax credits, and that's why they're so generous, up to 45%, to make sure that the project is feasible, because the authorities understand that it is cost prohibitive.
But they don't have that restriction, do they? They don't have that restriction, do they?
The state?
Yeah.
I mean,
The historic credits, are there certain guidelines?
Yes.
That have to be followed?
Correct.
But are they too strict? It won't be feasible to build that way? Unless
This is
they
an
use other-
incentive package for people to be drawn into the city, to be able to redevelop while following historic character. So it's completely separate. This is just
what I wanted to be
creating
sure
the
of.
map
That's what I want to make sure that they.
for the incentive.
Yes.
Yeah, to be able to do that. And that's just a tool for the city of Joliet.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these government credits. I want to know what their guidelines are, because if they're very strict, it's not feasible a lot for people to do that. But if it looks like it with other materials, that's what you can do today. But the artisans aren't there anymore to do exactly what they want done, if it's a building of some sort.
It's
Do you know what I'm
project by
talking
project.
about? No, seriously, you look like I don't know. Like,
No, I understand what you're saying, but it's hard to answer because it depends on, like, it's project by project, right? Like, not, especially when you're talking about historic preservation, it can vary widely. I can reach out back to IDNR and ask for specific guidelines that they have, so you can see those. But the point of this is to make it feasible, right?
Exactly.
So I would say that the guidelines would be feasible to implement, and there's a lot of support that IDNR offers throughout this process. So we are mindful that it will be a process that is going to take a lot of working very closely with that developer to make sure that things are done correctly and are feasible.
I'm not against it. I just don't want anything to be holding them back, saying you didn't use this material, or you didn't do this right, or you didn't double hang the windows. It just looks like you did, but you didn't. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand, yes.
Okay.
Can I step in a minute on this? We've had a couple of developers that have taken advantage of this in some of the communities that have had this for a few years, and they're very excited about coming down, and they've already looked at some of our buildings. So
That's good.
there are people that are very aware of how to utilize the rules and regulations to capture as much as they can from
Yeah, so
the
the
tax
Aurora,
credits.
the Aurora downtown was redeveloped under reset redevelopment zone incentives.
Elgin, a few of the other cities.
And that's
Yep.
fine. I just didn't want any blindsides. Well, you didn't use this material, you didn't do it right. That's all my concern. Otherwise, I'm all for this. I think it's great.
Okay.
Can I ask, Paulina, when you're saying, excuse me, Paulina, when you're saying feasibility, you're meaning funding to make this happen? Is that?
Correct.
So that if it goes into a situation where it's almost impossible, the funding is there so it's not impossible, so they can
Correct.
continue on this? Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Paulina, you mentioned that Joliet and Kankakee, or two more have just been approved?
So,
Excuse me, I could get a chance to
Yeah.
fill their application out.
correct.
Are we in competition with Kankakee at all?
No, it is not a competition. They want to add these communities, right? So in the class of 2025, they added even more communities, which include Alton and Sterling. So the plan from the state of Illinois really is to expand this program throughout the state.
So the other cities that have been in this from the beginning, we're not in competition with them either, and they really have no say on whether we can come in or not?
Correct.
Take it? Thank you.
Mayor. Downtown Aurora looks amazing. I mean, it's such a marked difference, and it looks extremely historic. So I would love to have this here in Joliet. Looks amazing.
Mayor? Question, Pauline, on the historic district concept that we're discussing here too. Is the entire RERS map going to be under historic restrictions?
So
I'm thinking up by the
Yeah.
mall, for instance, up Essington Road, we don't have historic.
Right, so outside of the historic districts that we already have designated in the city of
It
Joliet.
doesn't create new ones.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right, clarification, I think.
So for example, if there was a historic building by the mall, which I know it doesn't exist.
But if it did, right.
It would just have to go through the steps of certifying that it's a historic building.
So most of this is gonna be downtown,
Correct.
Pants area, that kind of thing. The
Correct.
older sections of town where we have historic buildings. It's not creating a new historic district anywhere else in the city.
Correct, yes.
Oh, and does the federal and state government have any grant monies available to the cities that do this?
Not
I
to
mean,
dis-
the incentives I understand, but the actual grant can't,
No.
not yet.
No, correct. Yeah, these are directly to the investors and the developers.
And you mentioned a couple of things that had to be done within 5 years? Is
So
that
those are
the benchmark?
goals and objectives that we are identifying in the application that the city would be wanting to achieve. And a lot of these goals and objectives are actually complementary of the equitable transit-oriented development plan, the Joliet downtown plan, and we work very closely with Jane Bernhardt to make sure that a lot of the stuff that it was incorporated into the comprehensive plan are also being incorporated into this
And if those goals are met, it doesn't make the RERS...
Go away, no.
Okay. That's all I have, thanks.
But we want, just to clarify, we wanted to make sure that it was low-hanging fruit, that we weren't setting unreasonable expectations for ourselves. So we work with our consultant to help us identify what was feasible within a reasonable time frame.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Still me? Still you. Yeah, well, lastly, we went over agenda item TMP 9129, which was a memorandum of understanding between the Regional Transportation Authority and the City of Joliet for transit-oriented development zoning code update, which is on tonight's agenda as well. All these were approved by our committee to come to the full council for a vote with our support. Did I miss anything else? Councilman Mudger, Barra, want to add anything?
Perfect.
I think you've gone longer than the whole meeting is going to go.
It was supposed to be a quick meeting today, right? That'd be my report, Mayor.
Should have had dinner.
Public assets.
The Public Assets Committee met earlier tonight at 5 o'clock in the Executive Conference Room. In attendance were Councilman Marino, Councilman Clement, and myself, along with Blake Klein, our Facilities Director, Night Train Vec from the Joliet Slammers, Greg Priebolt from Joliet Area Historical Museum, and Nick Farrell from the Miracle League. We approved the minutes from 8/28, and there were no citizens to be heard on agenda items. There were 3 agenda items. The first item was a recommendation to approve payment of the Joliet Area Historical Museum Gallery ceiling repair and painting project. For years, the roof has leaked, causing damage to the ceiling gallery. Last year, the roof was replaced, so now the gallery ceiling can be repaired and painted. Because of the height of the ceiling and the subfloor not being strong enough for a lift, scaffolding is needed for this project. The second item was award of contract for the former Stadium Club building located in right field of Slammer Stadium, asbestos and lead abatement project. This building was built in 1924 and is 3 stories and 1,800 square feet. Due to the age of the building, it contains asbestos and lead throughout. As part of staff's continued efforts to redevelop city-owned facilities, it is recommended to abate the asbestos and lead so staff can market the property. The third item was a professional service agreement to replace 5 rooftop HVAC units at Slammer Stadium. These 5 units provide climate control for offices, clubhouses, meeting rooms, and suite level. The units are over 23 years old and began failing this summer, prompting staff to bring in temporary air during the summer heat. Night train vac, all 3 of those items were approved unanimously to move forward. Night Train Vec gave an overall update over the past season and how much he appreciates the committee, the council, the mayor, and staff who support the continued efforts of improvements of the facility and support. The team had a 35% increase in donations from the team and $30,000 worth of tickets donated. Greg Preerable gave an update on the Joliet Area Historical Museum. October was a very successful month with Blues Brothers movie and attended strong all month. Museum events begin in February for the centennial. Nick Farrell from the Miracle League spoke during public comment and let everyone know that the Miracle League spring season begins May 9th at Slammer Stadium. It's a great opportunity to volunteer and give back. That is the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
May I comment on one of her items, just to clarify, because it's a great report.
Thank you.
I know what some people are thinking, if we're gonna put that money into the Cadillac building, also affectionately known as the stadium building, how much can you sell it for? I talked to our facilities manager today. We have to remediate this, whether we sell it, I wanna be clear for everybody watching, or we tear it down. We can't tear it down without remediating, so it's gonna be the same price either way. And so if after we remediate, we don't sell it for the next 10 years, it can be torn down if that's necessary, but we can't do anything until we remediate. And that's what I wanted to clarify.
Thank you. Do you have anything, Councilman Moreno or Councilman Clement? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Public service.
Public Service Committee met yesterday at 4:30 here at the council chambers. And on the committee and in attendance was Councilwoman Reardon, Councilman Mudred, and myself. We had 7 total items, 3 contracts and 4 change orders. So I won't go quite as long as my learned colleague here. I can if you want. Try to stretch it out. The 3 items was a purchase of a service truck from Rob Baker Ford in the amount of $66,000. We're doing it now instead of waiting till next year because we're guaranteed delivery in a reasonable amount of time if we do it now. If we waited till next year, there's no guarantee we'd get it or how long it would take to get it. Another item was the basically bulk roadway sign materials for 2025, and that was a $42,000 bidded purchase. And finally, under the contracts, we had replacement waste pumps for the Aux Sable wastewater treatment plant in a total of $60,000. We looked at all 3 items and unanimously found them to be in order, proper, and voted unanimously to send it to the full council with the committee recommendation to approve. We had 4 change orders. Nothing to say. Well, I will crow about 1, and that was approval of change order number 2 for the Spring Creek Phase 1 Water Main Improvements Project to Austin Tyler Construction Incorporated for a deduction, well, we always like this, of $1.1 million. So thank you, Austin Tyler, for counting the pennies. And then the final payment was for $1.3 million. All 4 items were vetted by all 3 of us, found to be in order and proper. And again, unanimously voted to be sent to the full council with committee recommendation to approve. And that's all we really had. We had a report on, which we do once a month, on utilities maintenance activities, you know, how many water main breaks we've had, things like that. You know, in the future, probably, if people are interested, we can bring that forward. If anybody here is interested to hear that, or just kind of a fun.
Maybe end of the year.
Yeah, we don't need it. We don't, okay. So with that said, that would be my report, unless the councilman or councilwoman have anything to add.
No.
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you.
I show no other reports. Under consent agenda, approval of minutes. It is recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting on October 6, 2025, and the city council meeting October 7, 2025 stand approved as recorded. Invoices to be paid. It is recommended this report be approved. Council memo number 579-25, approval of change order number 3 for the Bridge Street, Nicholson Street, Center Street roadway improvement project. MFT section number 24-00562-00FP to PT Farrow Construction Company, a deduction in the amount of $11,139.97, and payment request number 4 and final in the amount of $33,566.80. Council memo number 580-25, approval of purchase 1 Ford F-250 service truck from Rod Baker Ford in the amount of $66,063.70. Council memo number 581-25, approval of purchase order number 1 for the 2025 bulk roadway sign materials to High Star Traffic in the amount of $42,128.75. Council Memo Number 582-25, approval of change order number 1 for the 2025 Hickory Spring Creek Cleaning Project to Greg W. Dobsick Excavating in the amount of $20,000 and payment request number 1 and final in the amount of $150,000. Council Memo Number 583-25, approval of purchase of replacement waste pumps for the Aux Sable Wastewater Treatment Plant from Berger LLC in the amount of $60,000. Council Memo Number 584-25, approval of a contract with the MMA RX Solutions Prescription Drug Rebate Management. It is recommended Council Memos 579-25 through 584-25 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is agenda items. Council Memo Number 586-25, approval of change order number 2 for the Rosalind Street Culvert Replacement Project to Austin Tyler Construction Incorporated, a deduction in the amount of $2,704.50, and payment request number 3 and final in the amount of $188,191.67. It is recommended Council Memo Number 586-25 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Abstain.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo Number 587-25, approval of change order number 2 for the Spring Creek Phase 1 Water Main Improvements Project to Austin Tyler Construction Incorporated for deduction in the amount of $1,145,302.94 and pay estimate number 9 and final in the amount of $1,302,885.60. It is recommended Council Memo Number 587-25 be approved.
So moved.
Second. Any comments or questions?
I have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Councilman Moreno, did you have any hand in saving us that 1.3 million?
I did.
Good for you.
There you go. Anything for the taxpayer.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Abstain.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo Number 588-25, 2025 Property Tax Levy Discussion. Kevin Singh, the Finance Director, will come up for discussion regarding the 2025 Property Tax Levy.
So, some background. So I think the council is aware you must discuss the tax levy 20 days before it's adopted. We're scheduling that adoption or the vote for December 2nd, 2025. So the reason is we have to prepare the ordinance for the actual levy to get voted on. Just some background, the city represents about 12% of the property tax bill. The remaining 88% is made up of other government bodies such as schools, townships, the county, and park district. For the taxes paid next year, we're recommending a levy that's expected to keep the tax rate that the property owners will pay the same as they did this year. This would be the second consecutive year without a property tax rate increase, as the rate that people paid in 25 actually went down 6.5 cents from what it was paid in 2024. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just repeat your statement again so people can really hear what you just said.
Yeah, so the goal of this levy was crafted that the tax rate would be the same as it was that people paid this year.
Thank you.
So,
I don't want any rumors out there.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
yeah. And the other part I want to point out that we haven't really talked about this, that the rate paid in 25 actually went down 6.5 cents from what it was paid in 24. So this would be another year without a tax rate increase.
Mayor.
Yep.
Kevin, you and I discussed this.
Yep.
At length too. So by expanding or increasing the tax levy, but the increased values of new properties and additions and so forth, it would keep the tax rate about the same.
Yes.
However, if we kept the levy the same as other communities have done in other school districts, it would lower the tax rate.
That's possible, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Move on to public hearings. Council memo number 590-25. Public hearing regarding an ordinance designating an area as the Joliet River Edge redevelopment zone. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time. Is there anyone who would like to speak under this public hearing? Okay. Oh.
Good evening. Quinn Adamowski, resident here in Joliet. I know all of you here, so I just ask that you don't look at me through the lens of a citizen of Joliet. I'm speaking tonight in my role as the Regional Advocacy Manager for Landmarks Illinois. We are the statewide historic preservation nonprofit, so clearly we care about the rehabilitation of old historic buildings. And the most powerful tool to do that is historic tax credits at a national and a state level. So the RRZ has been a legislative priority for us since inception, and specifically the River Edge Historic Tax Credit, because it is a powerful tool to redevelop historic properties. So as Polana covered, Joliet is one of 16 communities to be fortunate enough to have access to this. Of the 16 communities that now have access, 11 are new since 2023. And then she mentioned the 5, Rockford, Elgin, Aurora, Peoria, and East St. Louis were the original 5. So what that means is because all these communities are new, they have not completed a project. And the State Historic Preservation Office just released a report that indicates that those 5 communities combined have seen $646 million in private investment in their historic properties. Rockford alone has $400 million in the pipeline right now. That's a testament to them utilizing this credit. So I would say that with planning, intentionality, recruiting, Mayor Darcy, you've already alluded to the fact that you've talked to developers. You take those steps, people come in, they understand this program, they will use the program, and we will see investment. I do want to just take a minute to address your question, Councilman Kuhlman, about the local Historic Preservation Commission. So the local HPC, by and large, is regulatory. Our local ordinance for preservation is regulatory. And so that means that if you have a home, as you well know, you want to replace the windows, then you would come before the Historic Preservation Commission for approval. The River Edge redevelopment zone and federal historic tax credits is not regulatory in the same way. It's an incentive program. So yes, there are requirements that a developer would have to follow, but those are not determined at a local level. Those are determined with the State Historic Preservation Office staff and qualified architects and how to use the program. So in theory, the only 3 buildings that are local landmarks that would come before the HPC regarding any of this are the museum, the Rock and Roll Museum, and the Dairy Queen. They are all National Register eligible. They're also local landmarks. So again, in theory, they would come before the HPC for approvals as well. Having said that, it is highly unlikely that any 3 of those buildings would ever use this program, because this program is for income-producing properties and it's for private development. And since all 3 of those buildings are either leased by and or owned by a nonprofit, they're not subject to HPC. They're not going to be subject to HPC review. So with that, I would say, given the powerful tool this is in other communities, Joliet's fortunate to have access to it, and I would encourage you to adopt the ordinance. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during this public hearing? Okay, seeing none, let the record show the public hearing is now closed. Councilmemo number 591-25, public hearing for a resolution approving an annexation agreement for 8.1 acres located east of Thoroughbred Lane, south of Old Renwick Road. Resolution approving an annexation agreement for 8.1 acres located east of Thoroughbred Lane, south of Old Renwick Road, A-3-25. This is a public hearing, so comments would be in order at this time. Is there anyone who would like to speak under this public hearing? Okay, seeing none, let the record show the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve Council Memo Number 591-25, resolution approving an annexation agreement for 8.1 acres located east of Thoroughbred Lane, south of Old Renwick Road, A-3-25?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah, quick question here. To Greg. Greg, do you know, so any drainage or anything like that has been addressed in the, the preliminary, right?
Typically, the preliminary plat would review drainage as well as any other, excuse me, any other utilities involved.
Just in case any of the residents out there are watching.
That's correct.
Like I said, I just want to put their minds at rest that they're held to the same standard as a much larger subdivision would be too.
Yeah, that's right. The preliminary plat is preliminary in nature, so it doesn't have the final details, but it's a more high-level look at what will be required when the final plat comes through. There are typically plans attached
And that's
to the final
generally
plat.
we tweak it out if there is a
Correct.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Verdin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Under ordinances, Council Memo Number 593-25, ordinance designating an area as the Joliet River's Edge redevelopment zone. It is recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? I do want to make a quick comment and thank Dustin and Pauline and the teams that worked so hard to put this application in. I know it was a lot of work, and you did a great job bringing as much of the city in as you could with the continuity and everything else, so thank you for that. Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Verdin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo Number 594-25, ordinance associated with De Leon subdivision, ordinance approving the annexation of 8.1 acres located east of Thoroughbred Lane, south of Old Renwick Road, A-3-25. Ordinance approving the classification of 8.1 acres east of Thoroughbred Lane, south of Old Renwick Road to R1B, single-family residential zoning, A-3-25. Ordinance approving the preliminary plan unit development of De Leon subdivision, PUD-6-25. It is recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Verdin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo Number 595-25, ordinance vacating 0.028 acres of a public drainage easement at 1715 Terry Drive. It is recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Verdin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo Number 596-25, ordinance approving the Fourth Amendment to Development Agreement for Senior Suites of Joliet LLC, building at 215 North Ottawa Street. It is recommended that ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Verdin?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Resolutions. Council Memo Number 598-25, resolution authorizing execution of a lease agreement between the City of Joliet and La Sociedad Incorporated, DBA Casa Contrina, Mexican Heritage Cuisine. It is recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye. Aye.
Councilwoman Navarro?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman? Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo number 599-25, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the Regional Transportation Authority and the City of Joliet for transit-oriented development zoning regulations. It is recommended that resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Thank you.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Moreno?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman? Councilwoman Rudin?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is the city manager's report.
Good evening. Construction updates for downtown. Brick paver replacement in the Ottawa Street parking garage is now complete. Brick pavers defining the, quote, red carpet walkway within the city square has been completed as well. This week's planned work, brick pavers will continue to be placed along the access loop roadway and within areas of the city square. Concrete placements for sidewalk and brick paver base will continue with the city square. Work to complete the final elements of the fountain structures will continue, and electrical cabling work to prepare for light poles along Chicago Street will continue. I also wanted to announce the I-80 Des Plaines River Bridge Community Meeting. This is the second community meeting for the Interstate 80 Des Plaines River Bridge Community Plan that will take place virtually, this time via Zoom on Thursday, November 13th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The purpose of this community meeting is to get feedback on the alignment of the neighborhood trail and design components of the trail. The meeting will also discuss other community needs that will be highlighted in the plan. Information on how to participate in this virtual meeting can be found on the project webpage, joliet.gov/I-80 Community Plan, or through the city's Facebook page. Providence High School is having a musical by Park, May We All. It's a country musical. And they're performing this weekend. So anyone who would like to attend, please visit the school's website for more information. Finally, we have our 4th graduating CERT class that graduated today. This, it's having its final session tonight, so they'll graduate tonight. So after today, there will be a total of 78 trained volunteers, not including trained high school students. We should be up to 100 by the end of the year. So John Lukanczyk's doing a great job with this program, and we've had a ton of interest, which is great. The 5th CERT class will begin in January. If you're interested in joining, please sign up at joliet.gov/CERT. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Next is public comments. We do have 2 people that signed up. Doris Jones.
Good evening, City Council. Excuse me. My name is Doris Jones. I'm the godmother of Raven Jones. I'm here for justice. On July 12, 2021 at 419 Bluff Apartment 36, Raven Littlejohn body was found deceased in a man's apartment with only a bra covering her body. The building belongs to the Joliet Housing Authority. No one knows what happened to her clothes to this day. So I don't believe that there was any type of investigation done. I think the case was handled more than just disrespectful. The way she was identified, the way the family was notified of her death, everything done through a phone. We listened to the 911 call. This also was shared on Facebook. The 911 call let you know there were people in the fentanyl overdose that was in the room with her. Why would anyone accept dead on arrival at the final outcome of the findings of the accidental cocaine and fentanyl overdose with no foul play? Where were her clothes? Where were her belongings? Is walking down the street nude against the law? I don't believe it's called indecent exposure. She walked in an apartment with more than a bra on. Where are her clothes? Where are her shoes? Wasn't a rape kit administered? Clearly the investigation wasn't done. Actionable intelligence. There were many deaths during the year of 2021 in the same area. In November 21, Bob Okan of Shaw Media wrote an article about Raven Littlejohn and the way she was found, and was asked for a deeper investigation, including the 4 men that was pulled from the Des Plaines River at that time. That was a rally in the Joliet on April investigation, including 4 men that was pulled from the river. That was a rally in Joliet April 9, 2022 for the victims of that year, the 2 drug-induced homicides and 2 river drownings. What they all had in common was the Joliet Housing Authority along the Des Plaines River. The first was Anthony Dunn, March 2nd, 2021. His van was found in Joliet Housing Authority parking lot in the 400 block of Bluff. And about 2 months later, his body was pulled from the Des Plaines River located behind the parking lot where his van was found, which is approximately 2 to 3 miles behind the Joliet Police Department. The second was Raven Littlejohn. She was found deceased on July 12, 2021 in the building belonging to the Joliet Housing Authority with only a bra on. 12 days later, on July 24, 2021, in the same building as Raven in the 400 block of Bluff, Terrence Pierce's body was found, and I believe they said that the cause was an accidental overdose. September the 10th, 2021, Quentin Bailey's body was pulled from the same location as many men, color approximately 2 to 3 miles behind the Joliet Police Department. The sad part is that he was a resident of one of those buildings belonging to Joliet Housing Authority. I just named 4 bodies in 6 months period with no foul play. Let's talk about 2024. Deshaun Green's body was pulled from the Des Plaines River in March 2024. Robert Long's body in April, and Reverend Warren Beard was pulled from the same river in 2024. What these 3 men have in common is they were all pulled out of the Des Plaines River approximately 2 to 3 miles behind the Joliet Police Department. Rumor is that when the Reverend Beard was pulled out of the river and his car was in Reverend Beard was pulled out of the river in his car, he was on the passenger side. A known fact to Fox 32 News in Chicago had a broadcast that said he was last seen by a friend in the 400 block of Broadway, which is said to have been one of the Housing Authority buildings in Joliet, which is across the street and kitty corner to the other buildings. That the so-called overdose victims was found in a parking lot where Anthony Dunn's van was found. Is this a coincidence? We want Joliet and their investigators to reopen all the cold cases because we believe it's not just a coincidence. No justice, no peace.
Robin Anderson.
Hello. I came here, and after listening to all what's going on in Illinois, it's overwhelming. I drove 6 hours to get here. So I'm going to read what I wrote, and then I got a couple of comments, because if you don't clean up your past, your future will not be nothing, because Des Plaines River, no matter what you do to it, you're going to always look out and see all them dead bodies still floating in that river. I don't care what you do. But it's been 4 years, and the families are the only ones speaking out. Joliet has truly changed. I have different feelings about the city that I grew up in, born and raised. Some of my old friends from the South End has informed me that they were practically forced to move from their homes near Water Street because Joliet wanted the land for their alternate water source. Mayor Darcy, we know you inherited a lot of problems from the prior mayor, and you were hit with administrative, personal things. The district was rezoned right after voting for district people. You totally rezoned it. And it seems as though, to me, Joliet has been keeping a lot of secrets. William Busey, a Joliet police officer, was indicted on drug trafficking, but he left the department in 2021 after signing a settlement agreement to end his appointment. The indictment alleged that he tried to distribute cocaine January the 13th, 2021 in Lockport. He was further accused of distributing cocaine March 2nd, 2021 in Chicago, which just so happens the same day that they pulled Anthony Dunn out of the Des Plaines River in Joliet. Coincidence? I don't know. I don't think so. There's more in an article written in the Herald News on September the 3rd, 2024. It is possible that one of their very own officers were selling drug to the drug-induced homicide victims. And I'm also just throw this in here that I forgot to add. And it's a shame that Detective Chief Madlock has been living in 419 Bluff for the last, I don't know how many years, and he's a deputy chief, and that's low-income housing, which is owned by the Will County Housing Authority. I don't even think that's legal, but it is here in Joliet. I'm gonna say Joliet because every city has their own ordinance, and I don't even think that's legal. There's more in written articles in the Herald News on September the 3rd, 2024. Is it possible that one of their very own officers were selling that drug? Okay, I'm rereading, but anyway, approximately 2 to 3 miles behind the Joliet Police Department is where all the bodies that have been found, that's been floating in the river, but you guys say no foul play. There was a 3-year investigation by the Attorney General into the death following the death of my cousin, Eric Lurie, in the custody of the Joliet Police Department. Many Heath Walters had regular conversations with Gretchen of the Attorney General office for 3 years, cover-up or coincidence. And of the unity and replacing the old senior citizens Murphy building with Bays Towers apartments. Working for professionals and empty nesters won't erase the Des Plaines River. Every time you look out the Bay Tower windows, that river will still remain the same, and you will always see those bodies floating out that river. And I don't care what you do, until you clean up your past, your future will never be nothing. And thank you, Mayor Darcy.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Teresa Howard Collins, and I'm here to represent History on Wheels and the Future African Descendants Military and Historical Museum at 575 Jackson Street. On Saturday, November 15th from 12 to 4, we'll be hosting our second annual Thanksgiving turkey dinner giveaway, where we will be able to provide more than 100 meals to veterans, families in need. Thanks to some generous community support, we've been able to cover both the turkeys and the side dishes, helping to ensure that every family in need has a meal to give thanks to. We are appreciative to the city and the community for your support, so that we can continue to serve Joliet through education, history, and these acts of service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening?
Hello, I'm sure you all might know me now. My name is Diane Matter, and I reside in Joliet. Tonight I'd like to discuss the cul-de-sac and concrete barrier at New Lenox Road and Oakview Avenue. During the last council meeting, I asked about the ownership of New Lenox Road, and I am pleased to report that Sean contacted me and informed me that the city of Joliet owns the road up to Warren Doris's old property. He also said further discussion needs to be done in order for the process to move forward. Now that the ownership in question has been resolved, I'd like to know if a cul-de-sac is feasible and if the city of Joliet will implement it to address safety concerns related to truck and warehouse traffic on New Lenox Road. This is a pressing issue that requires immediate attention. My neighbor spoke with the Love's contractor, who mentioned that the truck stop will be completed by April. I contacted Sean to request expedited approval for the cul-de-sac, and he agreed to work with me, or work on it. However, when I asked about the concrete barrier, he said it was not in his department, but he would look into it. I have not heard anything back from anyone about the concrete barrier yet. I also reached out to the mayor about the opening of Love's in April. The contractor was supposed to schedule a meeting with us, and unfortunately, he failed to follow through, which raises concerns about Love's commitment to being a good neighbor. Given Love's history of lawsuits and fines for not following codes, I worry about the city's ability to properly inspect the development. I'd like to know why special permits are granted to developments with such significant opposition. This here is from the Zoning Board of Appeals application process. This is word for word. The Zoning Board of Appeals is authorized to grant a special use provided the applicant establishes by clear and convincing evidence. 1, that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. Now, building a truck stop 30 feet from homes is going to be detrimental. 1,000 feet is recommended for residential districts. Truck and car exhaust, diesel and gas fumes are harmful to our health. Spills from gas, diesel, and hazmat leaching into our water supply is harmful to our health. This is endangering our health. How safe would you feel if you had a truck stop 30 feet from your home? What would you do if this was going up in your neighborhood 30 feet from your door? Would you feel safe? It's morally insane that this even got approved. Residents fought, but no one listened. What kind of morals does Joliet have? How will we ever totally feel comfortable and safe again in our own homes for the rest of our lives? Our general welfare of public health and safety has been taken away. How detrimental, meaning damaging, harmful, and destructive, is this going to be on our quality of life? What evidence could be so convincing that a truck stop in a residential district 30 feet from homes is not going to be detrimental? In light of these concerns, I urge the city to consider implementing a cul-de-sac at New Lenox Road and Oakview Avenue and installing a 13-foot concrete barrier to protect our neighborhood and possibly our lives. Thank you.
You know, like what she said, you know, I am living proof about how bad development has done to people. You know, I still struggle, I'm still suffering. But what development has done to me? And being homeless now, being homeless, worrying about where I'm gonna be next. You know, I keep getting under constant attacks. I keep suffering abuse and everything, and you think I'm happy with it all? You know, I'm to the point where I hope that Governor Pritzker signs the Die with Dignity law, because that's what my life has become. So I don't want nobody else to have to suffer for what I am like suffering. You know, the more you keep on putting development out there, bringing it up to people's houses, how many more people you want to suffer like I've suffered? You know, I got to where I call the cops. I got the cops, you know, more picking on me like I'm the criminal for things happening to me. I've had so much happen to me in the past two and a half years here that it's very hard to go on and live. I keep having nightmares. I can't even sleep anymore. You know, it's just every day it gets harder and harder just to say what I want to even get up for anymore. I can't even find a new place to live because, you know, more and more people are coming here to this country. We know how the borders were opened up, all these migrants that come to the country. We got more people competing to try to get housing, and we know the housing is not there. And people happen to be displaced and everything. Well, where do they get to find to go live? Well, they have to move out in the boonies to where they got to move away from all their friends and family and be lonely. You know, I beg not to have that happen to me because I don't know what I'd do without if I can't come here to you guys to get the love. You know, I don't know. I go live out in the boonies by myself, I'm not going to have that person that give me that hug. And that's why I beg you, just please stop the development and stop displacing people and stop taking their livelihood away, because, you don't want people to commit suicide. You don't want people to have to give up on what they love and give up what they were happy about and their reason for living, the quality of life. We need to take considerations and preserve people's quality of life, because, it gets harder and harder. When you keep on putting development in there, what do people do? They keep begging you and begging you and begging you guys to do the right thing. I beg you people, please, consider people's quality of life, and because we were here first before all this development ever came, and we deserve to stay. We deserve to stay where we're happy and where we feel safest at, because, me having to go live in some strange out of town place or area, I guarantee you I'm not going to be feeling safe. It's hard enough the way I'm living right now in this motel I'm living in. Every day, every week there's drama there, there's stabbings, there's drug dealing, there's, I gotta really run from my truck when I park and run up to my room as fast as I can, hurry up and lock the door, so I don't get mugged. It's not a good, peaceful and happy thing here. So I just beg you guys, just please consider everybody's health and well-being and quality of life, please. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to mayor and council comments.
Lonnie. I just want to start by saying nobody could have imagined in my family that we would be starting the grieving process so soon after the loss of my mother in May. But I want to thank you once again for the support that you've given our family at the recent loss of my father-in-law, Kevin Reardon. He was a wonderful man. We appreciate the outpouring of people that came out to celebrate his life. It was a testament to a life that was well-loved and well-lived. And we love him dearly, we miss him daily, and we just want to thank you all for the continued love and support and condolences to our family every day that we receive. So thank you. That's all.
I have nothing, Mayor.
I'd like to congratulate Glenwood Manor Homeowners Association, who put on their parade the Sunday before Halloween. It was a major success that it has been in the past, but it comes with a lot of hard work from everybody on that board. Just congratulations.
We have a lot of residents in Joliet that travel out to ShareFest in New Lenox once a month to get their food. And Heroes Helping ShareFest of Will County, will be a spaghetti dinner that is at the VFW in New Lenox, Saturday, November 8th from 4 to 8. And yes, I am selling tickets, so please hit me up. I will travel anywhere around the region to bring you your ticket. It's only $20 for adults and $10 for children, so it's very affordable and a fun time, I'm sure, honoring heroes that served. I also want to ask if anybody knows the timeline on the cul-de-sac of Millsdale Road. You don't have to give me an answer tonight. You can just let me know another time, but I'm just wondering if there's a timeline. Hands of Hope in District 5 is doing their annual Thanksgiving free food giveaway, and it's Saturday, November 15th from 10 to 2 at 511 Oak Leaf Court. The line begins on Hames Avenue, and signs will be posted. There is no pre-registration required, so show up between 10 and 2. They have plenty of food for everybody. I also want to say it was very disappointing to be at Take Back the Night and have no media present to report what a meaningful event that was. There is an epidemic of abuse against women and girls in this area, and I think it's so important for the media. Cannot always post, unicorns and rainbows. Sometimes the ugly truth is, domestic violence. So I'd like to bring some awareness to that also. If you travel Jefferson Street, Larkin Avenue, Chicago Street, Route 53, draw the camera in close, because I want all the residents to slow down. If you're traveling on those roads, slow down. We have had a lot of accidents and very fatal and serious accidents. I travel Jefferson Street daily and people are not careful. They're on their phones. They're looking everywhere else. Just slow down. You could save a life. It could be your mother's life. It could be your brother's life. But please, for God's sake, slow down in the city of Joliet. Thank you.
Just to add to that point a little bit, you make a good point, Councilwoman. I see it so often too, and I'm not a driver's ed teacher, trust me, but it's a simple directionals, folks. Using a directional isn't the end all. Using it properly. Turning it on at the last minute right before you turn. Turning it on when you're already halfway into your turn. We've already figured out you're turning. You're supposed to turn it on 100 to 150 feet ahead of time so that all the cars behind you can see you, and that therefore you avoid a rear end. So for those that have forgotten or maybe were never taught that, use your directionals properly, and that's going to save or at least prevent a lot of accidents. I had a neighbor over the weekend. I thought he was moving out. I didn't see a for sale sign on his yard. I went and talked to him today because there was a big two guys, whatever the company is. Yeah, he's just not moving out of Joliet, he's moving out of state. This is probably the 50th resident from the west side, and actually from the east side that I've talked to that are moving out of state. Taxes are out of control. We're driving our residents out of our state. We lost 54,000 last year. We're probably going to lose another 50 or 100,000 this year. It starts here, but it's really in Springfield, and mostly in Springfield with the taxes. Their new proposals I am less than impressed with in the veto session. Folks, it's got to be addressed. Politicians got to stop glad-handing the subject and actually make an effort to freeze and reduce taxes. Cut spending where it can be cut. With that said, I'll congratulate Providence Catholic. They beat Springfield High 63-19 in the first round and moved to the second round. So congratulations, Providence, on their football team. And that's proof that we up here can do it better than people in Springfield. Here we go. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
I just want to wish my daughter, Carson, tomorrow's her 13th birthday. So I just want to tell my beautiful daughter, happy birthday, and I love you. So,
Happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday, Carson.
Just want to say thank you to Casa Catrina for investing in Joliet and wish you guys nothing but luck, and hopefully they'll get the licenses going for you guys to get open soon. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody that Tuesday is the 11th day of the 11th month is Veterans Day. It's one of the most important commemorations we have to pay tribute to the brave men and women who serve to allow us the freedoms we cherish and appreciate. We are the home of the free because of the brave, so I want to say many thanks to all of our veterans and our first responders. That's all I've got. God bless Joliet and God bless America. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting adjourned.